DreAllDay.com.
Better than this? Let me answer that for you. No. You are tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you have expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you're the huge dose of personal initiative. This is the go-getter energy that moves you to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. Putting all this together, you get the mindset, the method, the podcast known as Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. And today's topic, we're talking competition because all of life is a competition. If you didn't know, all of life is a business because all of life is going to cost you something you got to invest to get something back out. And all of life is a competition because in some areas of life, even though we are in a world of abundance, and I've told you this, giving whole episodes to the topic, in some areas of life, the resources are limited. For example, if you play a sport, the championship trophy, there's a limit to it. They don't give a championship trophy to every team in the league. Now, maybe they give everybody a participation trophy. Everybody doesn't get a championship trophy. There's only one champion. In the Olympics, for example, international competitions, there's one gold medal, one silver, one bronze. Everybody else doesn't get anything. You get to say that you participated, but you don't get any type of award. In life, in many areas of life, in certain jobs, certain companies, only one person can be the CEO, one the COO. Maybe you could have multiple presidents, but there's usually a limit to how many they're going to be. How many presidents, how many VPs, how many directors, how many managers. Everybody can't make it to every position. Everybody cannot get every award. So if you're going to play in life, play to win. That's the subject of today's episode. Since everybody can't get everything, since there are limited resources in some areas, especially the ones for which there is competition. See, if people are competing for the thing, then that means there's a limited amount of resources, or at least as far as we know, as of right now, there's a limited amount of resources. For example, there doesn't seem to be too much competition amongst people in America, in the world that we live in, the culture that anyone who's listening to this podcast lives in, we're not in direct competition for food, clothing, and shelter. There's plenty of it to go around. There's plenty of food in the grocery stores. There's plenty of clothes in the clothing stores, and there are plenty of places for people to live. There are a lot of places for people to live that are completely empty right now. I can see them looking out the window right now. Places that are available for people to live, and nobody's living in them because nobody just wants to pay for it, but it's available. So in those areas, we have abundance, but in the areas in which you're going to be competing, the areas for which other people are trying to take your spot, you're trying to take somebody else's spot, maybe there's a vacant spot and you and other people are all going after that spot, you got to play to win. Because if you don't play to win, then those limited resources, they're going to go to someone other than you. And since you're already in the game, you might as well play to win. Why not? Since you're already there, why not just try to win it? As an athlete, for me, and this is something, I talked about this, I believe, on an Instagram post. I also did a YouTube video on the subject. When I was playing basketball, I never really played for fun. It was never my thing to just play for fun. I didn't play for the love of the game. So when I got to the point, and people ask me, they're shocked sometimes when I tell them that when I stopped playing basketball competitively, when I stopped wanting to play at the professional level or play against players who were at that level, I stopped playing completely. I didn't go from being a player who plays professionally to being a guy who will play, in the local 35 and over league or in some recreational league or even at the playground playing pickup with some random guys who don't even play basketball for a living. I didn't ever want to get into the playing for fun part of basketball participation because I never played for fun. Even when I was first learning the game, I was playing so I could get better and maybe beat the players who have been beating me up to that point, or maybe get as good as or better than the players who have been better than me to that point. I always played to compete. I never played to win. I never played for fun. I played to compete and I played to win, never just for the enjoyment of the activity. It was always a competition for me, and it was always about winning. If I couldn't win in the short term, and I was planning on or plotting on how I could win in the long term. So I may not be better than these other players my age today, but next year, I'm going to be better than some of them. In 3 years from now, I'll be better than more of them. In 5 years from now, I'm going to be better than all of them. That was the way that I was always thinking. So when I was no longer willing to invest in keeping myself in that competitive level of basketball shape, not just regular person shape, but basketball shape, I stopped playing completely. I think I've done a good job keeping myself in just regular guy shape. I still work out every day, just not the stuff that you need to play basketball at the competitive level that I was used to playing at. So even now, if I go run outside or I'm lifting weights, I create some type of competition in my mind, because when I'm doing that, That's when I perform my best, because that's the fun part for me. The competition is the fun part. Beating somebody, having someone who thinks they can win, but they actually lose when they go up against you, that part is the fun part for me. Now, maybe some of you think the same way. Maybe some of you are not even bloodthirsty competitors in that way, and you didn't even play a sport. Don't even play a sport now. You don't plan on playing a sport. Just to do it, for me, wasn't fun. Maybe it is for you, but hopefully what we're talking about here today is going to resonate with some of you who are in that mindset, and those of you who are not. I still want you to listen to this, and I still believe some of the things that I'm going to say you'll relate to. Maybe all of the things that I say you'll be able to relate to, simply based on the fact that even if you're not that super competitive type of individual, you understand that there are limited resources out here. If you have a client in your business right now, that client is a client of yours, which means he or she is probably not also a client of one of your competitors who offers a similar service. A customer of yours who's been a regular for years is not a customer of someone else who's offering the exact same product or a similar product, or a product that you think yours is a little bit better, they think theirs is a little bit better. Because you have that customer, because you have that client, they can't be a customer or client of someone else. Those of you who are content creators, now the difference with content is we can consume as much of it as we're willing to take in, as much as our attention as we're willing to give to it. I can consume 30 different podcasts if I want to, subscribe to all of them, 30 different YouTube channels if I want to. But right now, at this exact moment, you're probably only listening to one podcast. You can only listen to this podcast while you're listening to me. Then when this one's done, you can listen to somebody else. When that one's done, you can listen to somebody else. And over time, those may get pared down. You may add more, you may delete some. In the moment right now, and this is the thing that we say with content, the economy, the currency of the economy is attention. Because anybody can put something out and anyone can consume whatever they want to consume for the most part at a very low price, if not no price whatsoever, at least when we're talking about money. Your competition is just to get people's ears, just to get people's eyes, just to get people paying attention to you. It's not even the money. The money comes secondary. First, you got to get them to pay attention to you in the first place and see some value in you. So everybody here, all that being said, everybody listening to this is in some form of competition, maybe more than you think you are, maybe just as much as you think you are. And if you don't think you're in any competition at all, I'm gonna open your eyes to that concept here, that truth here today. Let's get into our points finally. Today's topic again is, if you're gonna play to win. Point number one, the winners get remembered. As I mentioned, in sports, there's only one champion at the end of the season. In international competition, there's only one person or a team gets the gold medal. In any competition, at least the ones that we know are competitions, we often only remember who won in the short term. Let's say in sports, for example, in hockey or baseball or basketball or football, or in, again, swimming in the Olympics, track and field events in the Olympics, we often only remember who won in the short term, and posterity only notes the winners, even when the game is close. I mean, it's great if you take your team to the NBA Finals 2 years in a row, but if you don't win that championship, the media is not taking photos of the losing team. The media is taking photos of the guys holding up the trophies at the end. Who was the second person to land on the moon? Who was the second person to break the 4-minute mile? Most people don't know without having to Google that information. And while this truth may make some of you nervous, may make you anxious in a way, you can take that energy, that nervousness or that anxiousness is a good energy, because you can convert that energy into excitement. The reason it's a good energy is because your mind, your subconscious and conscious mind, are telling your body that there's something at stake here. There's something that can happen. There's something that I can win here. And even though you may interpret it at first or at times as anxiety or stress, because you know it's a competition and you know the other guy or the other girl or the other team is trying to win just as much as you are, and only one of you is going to be able to, even though you're taking that as anxiety or stress, or you're labeling it as anxiety or stress, understand that exact same feeling that you're feeling right now could also be called excitement. It's the exact same energy, it's the exact same impulses, and the exact same neurons are firing in your mind. You're feeling it in the exact same area of your body in which you would feel what we label excitement, but you're labeling it stress right now. If you can just flip that from feeling, damn, something bad might happen, to damn, something great, I'm poised for something great to happen in my life, it becomes excitement. It's just a matter of how you decide to label that energy. But just the fact that you're feeling anything. Any of you, when you get into a competition, you start to feel something that's a little bit different than your baseline energy. that's a good thing, because that means your mind and your body understand that there's something at stake, and they understand that there's an opportunity for you to get it. If you're not feeling anything, then maybe you're the type that just is not that competitive. You don't have that competitive, bloodlust that others may have, but that's okay. But understand, even if you don't have it, understand you still are in a competition. So since you're in a competition, you might as well win. Point number 2. Today's topic is, if you're gonna play to win. The rewards that you want, and this is for everyone out there. You don't have to be, again, seeking out competition to want something. There's some things you want in your life. You want a certain status in your business or in your career. You want a certain number of clients or a certain amount of bottom line revenue coming into your business, or you want a certain status in your life. You want a certain way that you want to live. You want to take care of your family, take care of your kids, do certain things outside of work that you may need certain rewards, maybe a certain amount of money or a certain amount of time off or a certain structure of your business. You may need those things in place in order to do the other things that you want to do. So the rewards that we all want in our lives, and we all want something. You wouldn't be listening to a podcast called Work on Your Game if you weren't going after something, because who's going to work on their game? There's nothing that they actually want at the end of doing all this work. If there's nothing you wanted, you wouldn't be concerned with doing work. The rewards that you want, there may be enough to go around to everyone, but you should win just to make sure. Just to make sure that you get yours, just so they don't run out when they get to the end. Make sure that you win so that there's no chance that there's a shortage of those rewards when it comes around to you. Some games in life have multiple winners, like I said, but some have only one. Some of you may watch, I would guess that a good percentage of you who listen to this podcast watch a TV show called The Game of Thrones. Not The Game of Thrones, just called Game of Thrones. The reason I'm guessing is not because it's any way related to this subject matter, but because the show is just so damn popular. But there was a scene, I believe it was season 1 of the show, maybe season 2, I don't remember, where one of the characters, I'm not going to get too deep in it, in case you don't watch the show, you'll still follow this. She told one of the other characters, she said, when you play the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. In some competitions in life, more than one person can win. In some competitions, you either win or you die. In the animal kingdom, you win or you die. And there's a meme that has gone around for years that says, the hungry wolf or the hungry lion or the hungry cheetah or any predator out there wakes up every day with the understanding that if he doesn't run faster than the antelope or the elk or the wildebeest or the bison that he wants to catch and eat, if he doesn't run fast enough to catch them, and if he's not vicious enough and doesn't enact enough killer instinct to kill them, then he's going to starve to death. Either they're going to die and the lion's going to eat them, or he's going to die because the lion wasn't able to catch them and or wasn't able to kill them. It is kill or be killed in the animal kingdom. And sometimes in competition, any of you who is a coach or a player in sports, you understand how some players may use this analogy when they get into competition, knowing that this is pretty much what they had to do. And we're not necessarily, I'm not even gonna say necessarily, we're not literally killing people when we get into our competition, but we put ourselves in that killer instinct frame of mind, because sometimes you win or you die. Just like this woman named Cersei told Ned Stark in Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen the show, it doesn't matter, you still understand what I'm saying. Olympic gold medal winners, they get on cereal boxes, they give speeches at colleges, they live their whole lives based off that one accomplishment. You all remember Bruce Jenner before he became, what's his name now, or her name, Caitlyn Jenner? Bruce Jenner, I remember when I first watched the Kardashian show, when it first came out, and of course you had all the ladies on the show. You had Kris Jenner, the mom, and then she was married to Bruce Jenner. And Bruce I came to find out after watching a couple episodes that this guy's famous for something. What is he famous for? I had no idea who this guy was. So I went and Googled Bruce Jenner and found out that he had won the Olympic gold medal in, I believe it was a decathlon. And I don't even know what year it was he won, but back in the 70s or the 80s, he won the Olympic gold medal in the decathlon, and he had basically lived the whole rest of his life, and even up to this point where he's become Caitlyn, lived the whole rest of his life off of the I don't even know what we call it, just off of the rewards for him winning that gold medal. He goes and gives speeches. He was on cereal boxes. He's a famous person. He's an icon for the rest of his life because he was great enough to win that Olympic gold medal that year. That one time he won that gold medal. Now, who came in second when Bruce came in first? We don't know. The person who came in second, if we just really think about it, relatively speaking, the person who came in second was better than the other however many billion people were alive at the time that this Olympiad took place. Better than everybody else except one, Bruce Jenner, but nobody remembers his name. Nobody talks about that guy. He's not going around giving speeches. Nobody wants to take pictures of him with his silver medal. Nobody cares because there was one person who got all the rewards just because he was a little bit better than this guy. Bruce Jenner was better, just a little bit better than the person who came in silver. I don't know how much he actually won by. And the person who came in silver was better than everybody else in the world except one. But who got all the rewards? And that guy was pretty damn good, that silver medalist. I mean, how many years did he train to get ready for the Olympics? How much sacrifice did he make to get ready to try to win that gold medal? The difference between you and the number one person, if you come in second, is probably very small when it comes to the actual competition. There's a small difference between what they did and what you did if you two are 1 and 2 in the world, or 1 and 2 in the city, or 1 and 2 in the state. But there's a huge difference for the rest of life. It's just the truth. And I'm telling you all that to tell you this: since you're going to be in a competition, this is the subject of today's episode, you might as well win. Because sometimes, even though you may quote unquote win, I mean, the guy who came in second to Bruce Jenner, he won a silver medal. I mean, his name's in the record book, so you go Google it. I'm sure you can find out who that person is. I'm sure he is highly respected, and wherever he goes and people find out who he is and what he did, his name is respected. People put respect on his name. I mean, you won a silver medal at the Olympics. That's an accomplishment. Just making the Olympic team is an accomplishment. But Bruce Jenner became a legend. He became an icon. And again, he lived the rest of his life. He's still alive. Lived the rest of his life off of that one accomplishment. That's the one thing that people knew the most about him before the Kardashian show happened and Caitlyn happened. It was the fact that he was the best in the world at this one thing on a big stage when it most mattered. That's just the truth. And even though you may not be stepping onto an Olympic stage or in a competition that is as big as the Olympics, and what you do, relatively speaking, is that big, because listen, your world may not be as big as what Bruce Jenner was competing against. Your world may just be the office that you work in. Your world may just be the city league of the basketball team that you're on. The 12 teams in the city league, who's going to be the number one player in that league? That's your world right now. So it's all relative. The person who comes in number one in that space, they get all the rewards. The person who comes in second, people barely even remember that you were there. So you might as well win. Point number 3. Today's topic is, if you're going to play to win. You did all this work. And whatever you're in, and we understand, I believe, that we all understand that everything we do, there is some form of competition taking place. Now, you've done all this work to get to the position that you're in, and you're doing more work to move up, right? You put all this time in. To do work, you got to put time in, right? And you made all these sacrifices, hopefully, to make yourself better and put yourself in a better position to succeed. But why did you do all that? Why do you work hard? Why do you put time in? And why do you make sacrifices? You do that, is it so you can settle for less than the full payout? So you can get less than the full reward? So you can get the silver medal spoils? Or do you want the gold medal spoils? I don't think anybody puts in a whole lot of work, puts a whole lot of time in, and makes a whole lot of sacrifices just so they can come in second and, for the most part, be forgotten. See, people are going to remember you for the next year or two if you come in second, but then they're going to forget about you as soon as somebody else comes in second, as soon as the next person wins. And as time goes on, whoever came in second, third, fourth, fifth, even in the whole world, your name gets buried. Nobody even thinks about you, but those people who come in first, they're iconic. Their name stays around forever just because you came in first. It's just the way that human beings, just the way that we are, our human nature. All right. To the victors go the spoils. The victors are the ones who get remembered. The victors are the ones who write the history books. Have you ever read a history textbook, or you ever had somebody tell you that you should question what's in the history textbook? You should question it, because the only people who write history books are the people who stayed alive to write them. See, the side that lost, they weren't allowed to write their side of the story. Only the people who won got to write the story, so they can make themselves look better than they actually were. So what you read in the history book is not the real history. That's just the interpretation of the story by the people who won, the people who stayed alive to write it. Understand that those full rewards, the full payout of victory, is available to whoever wants to take it. So you might as well take it all. And understand that I'm using the word take it, not receive it, not have it bestowed upon you. You got to go take it. If you're not willing to take it, then you probably won't end up having it, because there's somebody out there who is listening to the same message and they're like, okay, yeah, I gotta go take it. So while you're trying to be the nice guy, Mr. Political, Mr. or Mrs. Friendly, Mrs. Congeniality, they're going and taking it. And they're gonna be the one who gets remembered in the long run. And they're gonna be the one who gets all the rewards in the long run. So even if you're not looking for attention and trying to get remembered by everybody, just the fact that the rewards are available. Even if you're not, again, you may want to remain completely anonymous, but you still want to live a nice life. You still want to be comfortable, right? There's still things that you're after in your life. I guarantee you'll get to them quicker if you come in first than if you come in second. Again, do you disagree? Does this make sense? It's all there for the taking. And again, that word, taking. Now, I know we have athletes and competitive people listening to this podcast. You completely understand what I'm saying here today. But even if you're not that hyper-competitive type, somebody has to win it all. So why not you? Somebody got to come in first. Somebody has to be the one who gets remembered. Somebody has to get the gold medal placed around their neck. You might as well come in first since you are in a competition. If you are not aware that you are in a competition, consider yourselves informed as of today's episode. So let's recap the topic, which is if you're going to play, and we're all playing a game, you might as well play to win. Now, as an athlete myself, I told you I never really played for fun. The competition for me was the fun. So when I no longer wanted to be in competitive shape, I didn't want to play at all because I couldn't do the thing that was fun for me, which was competing. It wasn't just a participation for me. Now, it may be different for you, but all of us are in some form of competition in anything that we do in life, because in life, not all resources are just abundant and plentiful and completely replenishable. Sometimes there are certain rewards that can only go to a certain number of people, or there's only a certain amount available. Even though the world in general is one of abundance, some rewards do exist in a scarcity form, so not everybody can get them. So since you're in the game, you might as well win it. Point number one, the winners get remembered. Competition, we often only remember who won in the short term, and posterity only knows the winners. They don't even talk about the people who came in second. So it's great to take your team all the way to the championship or take yourself all the way to the Olympic final. But if you don't win, nobody's going to remember you. Just like most of you can't name the second person to land on the moon or the second person to break the 4-minute mile without having to Google it. This truth may make some people nervous or anxious, but understand that same energy, first of all, that energy is telling you that it matters to you. Second of all, you can turn that energy through mental alchemy. You can turn that energy from anxiety or stress and turn it into excitement. And I'll show you how to do that in the mental workbook. If you have not read that book, get it at dreallday.com/workbook, which is available in physical, audio, or digital. Point number two, the rewards that you want in life. Even if competition is not your thing, you want to live a certain way. You want a certain lifestyle. You want a certain amount of money. You want to take care of your family. There are certain things that you want to do and experience in your life. Those rewards, there may be enough of them to go around to everybody, but you should win just to make sure. All right, just so they don't run out, just so you make sure you get your opportunity and you don't have to sacrifice even more of yourself because somebody else won it over you. All right, Bruce Jenner, before he became Caitlyn, was basically living out his whole life off of the fact that he had won this gold medal in the decathlon and one of these Olympics that he participated in. People remember you for the rest of your life when you win on a big enough stage that matters enough. Now, while you may not be stepping on the stage as big as the Olympics, understand that when you win in your world, the biggest title in your world, relatively speaking, that puts you in a position to enjoy life or enjoy your work in a way that everybody else in that space is not going to be able to, simply because you won. So the victors go to spoils. We remember the winners, and listen, we give extra to the winners. The winners get away with things that the losers can't get away with. The winners get the stuff that you want, the stuff that you're after, the stuff that you've been working for. If you win more often, you'll probably get to it faster than if you kept losing or kept coming in second or kept acting like as if there isn't a competition going on. Point number three, you do all this work all the time. You listen to a podcast called Work on Your Game. You put this time in. You invest your time, money, attention, energy, focus. You make all these sacrifices. Why do you do that? Do you do this to settle for less than the full payout? It's all available to you, so you might as well take it all. And this doesn't even have to be about competition with anybody else. This could be competition with yourself. Competition with the thought that you have in your mind that I don't have to go for anything bigger. I don't need anything more than what I already have. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to get this disease of more, asking yourself, okay, how can I get more and more and more, just in the endless pursuit of more, because you'll never catch it if you keep pursuing more, because there's always more that you can get. But if the work that you're already doing, the effort that you're already putting out, the place that you're already at, if there's a bigger reward that you can get for the thing that you're already doing without having to make any more of an investment than you're already making, you might as well go after it. Why? Because life is a competition. Why? Because it's out there. Why? Because it's available to you. Now, I know I may not be talking to everybody when I say that. And I know we have plenty of athletes and people who are competitive, and I'm speaking your language directly right now, who are listening to this. But even if you're not that type, listen, somebody has to win it all. It all, whatever that it all is, it exists. So somebody might as well win it. And since you're already in the game, you might as well come in first since you're already competing. Let's talk about what's going on in the game group. In the business section and the basketball section, basketball skill development, overseas basketball section, our master classes for the month of April, May, and June, by the time you listen to this, are all up. If you want to get those deep dives, that's where, if you like what I talk about here on this podcast, I'll go even deeper in the game group where you're going to get video, audio, and written formats of those master classes. Of course, we have our forum where you can ask me questions. I'm always in the forum, responding to questions, responding to topics, giving people detailed answers, giving you links to material, since I have so much content out there where I'll probably answer some questions that you have, but you may not be able to find it, and you may not want to go leafing through everything that I have to even try to find it. I know where it is, so I can help you with that. Of course, we have deep dives on other subjects that go deeper than the master classes that we have each month, and a bunch of other materials in the game group. If you go to dreallday.com/membership, you can see in each section, that's business, personal development, basketball skill, and overseas basketball, what we're covering in detail. There are two things that you should know about the game group. That is strategies and results. Those are the two things that we focus on there, is that there's going to be a strategy for achieving a certain outcome, and then we're going to define what is that outcome that we're going after. That's how you know that you're getting what you're getting out of the game group. Not just a bunch of information, not just a bunch of motivation or inspiration or hype up or even a dump of content, even though I have a ton of content. We've organized that content and we structure it all down to strategies and results. So it's not going to be just so much, it's not going to be a buffet of information that you have no idea what to do with, because look, you can get that for free. Just open up YouTube or open up a site called Google. In the game group, we're going into the strategies that will help you produce a particular result in those 4 areas. That's business, personal growth, basketball skill development, and furthering and or starting your professional basketball career. That's at dreallday.com/membership. That's the game group. Work on your game. Dre all day.